Hi everyone, it's Angela from abpan.com, and Michael here from YouTube asked me to make a video about my journey in photography. So it started when I was in high school. My freshman year, I had gone over to my friend's house. She was a new friend, and so it was the first time I went into her room, and I remember it was like it was yesterday. I thought it was the most amazing room I'd ever seen. It was like blue walls, and she had all these pictures of like everyone she loves, like her family, her friends, and I thought it was just so cool how she like presented everything and stuff like that. So I wanted the same exact thing. So I like bought like one of those what are those, like those throwaway cameras, like the disposable cameras, and then like I spent like the summer just shooting, and I thought it was so much fun, and I thought I was going to make this cool wall and like have all these pictures up of my friends and family. And then my sophomore year was when you could take your first photography class in high school, so I signed up for Photo 1. And I don't know what happened, but ever since that class, I was hooked to photography. I loved it. I thought it was so cool how you could like capture moments, and I thought it was like so much fun like being artistic with the photography, and I just like love looking at pictures. I think that's what drew me in the most. I just loved looking at pictures. So I took Photo 2, I took Photo 3, and at that time it was all like darkroom stuff, and it was like film SLRs, and so yeah. And then so by Photo 3 I had a new teacher, and I loved her, and she would always encourage me to go further with my photography and stuff like that. So I'd always be staying after school and like staying in the darkroom like longer than she would stay there, and she would ask me to even like close up the darkroom for her because like she wanted to go home. So like I eventually became the photo editor of my high school yearbook, and I thought that was so cool because like I could just like look at the pictures and pick the pictures that were in the yearbook. And then I became the president of my photo club in high school, which made me really popular when I was in high school. And then eventually, like that summer, I got this internship at the Smithsonian Natural History Museum as a photo intern, and then I would help them develop pictures in the darkroom. And then that was like my first introduction to digital photography, because they would take slide film and then they would scan it into the computer and use Photoshop to clean up the pictures, like for dust and stuff like that. So that was like kind of like my first thing into digital photography. But when it was time to go to college, my parents didn't want me to go into photography for one reason or another. And so, but I still wanted to do art because I could not picture myself like being in a cubicle and just working for something I didn't really care about. So I still wanted to be in art because I still loved art. And so I took the first year, which was like art foundation, where you took like all different kinds of art classes. And so I thought that I could do art education and then minor in art history because I still loved learning about art. And so art history was like, I loved those classes, like learning about different artists and technique and things like that. Art education, I kind of did it just so my parents would think that I could get a job in art, and it would be like kind of like a stable job. And so yeah, so that's why I went into art education. But by the time, and while I was in school, I would take photography classes as I could, like for electives and things like that. So after I graduated, my parents were like, so what do you want to do? Do you want to be an art teacher? And I was like, no, I did not want to be an art teacher. I think I had such a problem with people telling me what to do. Like, I didn't like how the art programs in schools were like the first ones to go, and there was like all these budget cuts, and you had to like buy your own supplies, and it was like art on a cart, or like you had to travel to like different schools to teach art. So like I did not want to teach art. So my parents were like, you picked your first degree in art, we get to pick your second, and we choose business. And then so they actually wanted me to do accounting, but after this was still undergrad. I have 2 degrees in undergraduate school. So so I took the first year of like business courses. There was just like different general business classes like accounting, finance, marketing, I don't know what else. And then so I really liked marketing, but they wanted me to go in accounting, and I just could not do accounting. I don't know, but I really liked marketing because it was like a creative way of business. It was like coming up with new ways to promote and things like that. And I thought that maybe I could use marketing a little bit more in the future than I would accounting. So I remember like my last semester of school, I was sitting there and it was like one of those big auditorium classes, and it was I don't even know what class it was, but I was so bored. Like I could not stand it. And then I started getting scared because I was like, oh my God, is this going to be the rest of my life where I just like cannot take what I'm doing? I don't know. I just got so scared. And so like I like just wanted to run out of that classroom right away. I could not even stand like even trying to listen to it. So that weekend, I was thinking, I was like, what is the only thing, what in my life am I going to do? What do I actually love? And the only thing that I could come up with was photography. And so, yeah, photography is the only thing that I could really see myself doing for the rest of my life. And so that weekend, I decided to buy a DSLR. And it was a Nikon D80. And I bought a Nikon because I actually went to the store and I tried out a Nikon D80 and I tried out a Canon Rebel something. I don't even remember which one it was. But I like the quality of the Nikon better. So I like took it home and I was snapping all these pictures over the weekend, and I was having so much fun, but everything was shot in automatic because I had forgotten everything that had to do with exposure, with like aperture, shutter speed, whatever. I like forgot it all. So I just like kept on shooting automatic. And then finally one day my friend was like, hey, he breeds chameleons and he sells what are they? And he sells panther chameleons. And then so he was like, hey, do you want to take pictures of my chameleons and we can make calendars and posters and sell them, and that will be just a good way for you to start getting into photography business. I was like, awesome, that sounds great. And so that's how I got into chameleon photography. I would shoot chameleons, but they would always be in automatic. So like my first calendar wasn't that great, and then even my second one, it was like a little bit better, but I still didn't think it was that great. And I didn't know how I could improve, but I was still shooting in automatic. So finally I remember in March 2010, it was like the day I was like, damn, I need to read this camera manual and figure out how to use my camera. And then so I read the camera manual and I started going online, reteaching myself about aperture and shutter speed. And then I also had to learn about white balancing, ISO, all that stuff with digital photography as opposed to film, because that's all I mean, I didn't really remember it, but that's all I knew before. So I had to reteach myself all of that stuff. And then I think July 2010 was when I bought my Canon 5D Mark II. And I love that camera. The only thing is that it's like kind of big and like bulky, but I love it. And then so even in March 2010, that was the first time I saw HDR photography. And the first picture that I saw was by Trey Ratcliffe from StuckInCustoms.com, and I thought his pictures were amazing, and I wanted to take pictures like that. Like I love the color, and I love the detail, and I loved just like everything about it. It was just so vibrant, and I wanted my pictures to look like that. So I started applying HDR techniques to my chameleon pictures, and then I bought all these books, and I bought all these ebooks and stuff like that, just so I could learn HDR photography for the chameleons. And so in the meantime, I would take pictures out like in DC of like the monuments and like Great Falls Park in Virginia and things like that. So but as I got more into photography and more into HDR photography, I really fell in love with landscapes and nature. It was just it was something about being outdoors and like Mother Nature being like so versatile, like colors and different environments and things like that. I just loved HDR photography for landscapes and nature. So eventually, I think 2010 was the last year that I made the calendar for the chameleons. And then I just kept on concentrating on the stuff that I like doing, like landscapes and nature and things like that. So that is a longish, shortish version of my photography. And then how I got into HDR photography. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I've been doing photography for more than 10 years now, and I love it, and I really can't imagine myself doing anything else. And I really hope that shows in my pictures and in my blog, where I post new pictures every day. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know what else to say about photography. So if you have any other questions, leave it in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys have to say, because it just gives me new ideas for new videos, and just so that we can like get to know each other better. So leave a comment and make sure to subscribe for new videos. And I'm also doing a video series on how to take better pictures, so that you guys can learn about digital photography and don't have to go through like all the stuff that I had to go through. So make sure to subscribe for my videos, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.